So glad to be back here on the Claw Pod. Ross Marshall Von Erich, I'm the AntMan, your host. Thanks so much for being here again with us today. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, thank you so much for that. Hit subscribe and make sure you hit like on this video. It helps us. Algorithm is the word for the last 10 years, I think. And it's even more important today than it was yesterday. If you do that, it helps the algorithm and other people see this video, especially if you share it with somebody who has never watched it. Share this episode with them. Easy. They put all the buttons down there at the bottom. So glad to be hanging out with you guys today. I talked about this on the Wrestle Chat podcast yesterday, and that is I'm still feeling a little bit of a WrestleMania hangover. Mine's mainly for all the meat that I cooked. I kind of still have the meat sweats of stuff that I put on the grill. Yeah, exactly. I know you guys are traveling. You caught some of the show, but you also had to work as well. So I want to catch up with you guys and see what you caught and what you thought of what you caught. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Some other things, some surprises. We talked about your father being on Theo Von. We'll touch on that because that episode is out now. Plus some surprises for you guys coming up, in your home state. First, let's start with WrestleMania. 41 is in the books. I think judging from the consensus, night one was nowhere near as good as night number two. But some of the matches on night two got a lot of people talking. Tell me, let's start with you, Marshall, your favorite thing that you saw of what you did get to catch.
Oh shoot. Okay.
He hates when I go to him first. I know.
Oh man. So let me think. Well, I mean, I'm gonna go to the main thing. I really didn't think John Cena was gonna win. I just caught me by surprise, and I guess that was night two though, right? So, but that really did blow my mind. I didn't know how they're gonna do that, and what's that mean? Is he gonna defend? Is he gonna stick around or retire? Weirdly enough, I kind of get what he's saying about being the last true champion, even though it kind of didn't make sense at first, but it's kind of making sense.
The whole thing is that title that he has, it's been the lineage of everyone in WWE, all the way to Bruno and before that, and what have you. He's taking that title with him when he does leave at the end of the year, and he's going to be the champion till then, and he's going to leave with the title as the champ. Wrestling fans in WWE will have to figure something else out for whatever champion. That would be the WWE champion, not the world champion. They'll have to figure out a brand new title, a brand new lineage. Will start with a brand new champion, et cetera, et cetera. That's was pretty cool. Yeah. Actually, and that's what's funny. It's meant to piss people off. And I kind of think it's kind of cool. Let's just start over.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then I did like all the heel turns. They're I mean, Paul Heyman, I guess, was already heel, but the fact that he switched, I thought that was just great facial expressions and great camera work towards the end. Where Paul Heyman did a great job. He really did do a good job, and Seth Rollins definitely deserves it too. He's been around. He's been one of those just one of those utility players. He's been there for a long time. He's he can be a part of any main event. He can do it all. So it's going to be cool to see what happens with him and stuff.
To your point, he's been a John Cena like character. He's a great champion, and he's also a great, I wouldn't call him a mid-carder ever. He's still a main event guy, but he can be anywhere on the card. Yes. You can open the show with him. You can put him in the middle. You can put him as the champ, as the main event at the end, and Seth Rollins delivers. I think you're exactly right.
Yes, man. I think it's so cool how there's just a long historical story with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, how they've been, kind of paired together most of their WWE careers. It feels like I think they mesh well together. Yeah. Ross, I don't know what this means for Cody.
Let's see what you think about that. You hit the Marshall. You hit the main events, night one and night two. Ross, what did you think about the whole weekend?
It's going to sound weird, but one of the things that stuck out to me the most was Stone Cold coming out, which was cool on the quad. But he had the little incident, I guess, where he hit the barricade. But how he made it work like a pro, that was really cool. How he just still continued to look cool after kind of messing up a little bit. So
did you see that wasn't the first time he wrecked?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
No, really.
Backstage, trying to get on the stage, he missed the ramp. Yeah,
I kind of think I wonder if he drank before that.
That's what I wonder too.
Is he drunk?
A couple Steve Weisers before he jumped on the quad. What's funny about the whole thing, I think maybe even more humorous, is that I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he drives those for a living now. He actually races quads, and now he has the hardest time riding it to the ring at WrestleMania.
You know what's funny is he drives exactly like my dad. My dad, he would say he's the best quad driver ever, but he's constantly goes way too fast everywhere he goes. If it's a 50-yard stretch, he's gonna gun it there. Yeah. And that's why I was laughing so hard, because he really does drive just like that. He hauls butt to the ring and then cuts his wheels. He's always goes on 2 wheels and stuff. I didn't know what the hell. Yeah, it was bad.
Luckily, you have the land to do it on.
Yeah, seriously.
Steve does too. Yeah. It's not the same as a 20x20 ramp, right?
Man, that was funny
excuse. I get it.
I'm with you guys. I like I'm sorry, Ross, I interrupted you. Anything else that you wanted to hit on for
Oh man, that was the biggest thing that stuck out.
Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Oh, he's that's it. He's done. Ross is over. Okay, you froze for a second, buddy.
Oh,
so that was the biggest thing. So, yeah, you're back. So Stone Cold was your highlight.
Yeah, and then it was cool that this was their Netflix. Was it their first WrestleMania on Netflix? Is that right?
That's right. Outside of the U.S., yeah, it was only on Netflix too.
It's funny that something John Cena said. He said that since he's been gone, how big some of the guys have gotten. But he was like, Randy Orton and Batista switched bodies somehow, and he's like, and Randy Orton got like a foot taller, and John Cena couldn't believe how huge he was. But I guess that was after WrestleMania.
That was on Pat McAfee. But yes, you're exactly right.
That was super funny.
He kind of he started off that time with Pat McAfee of kind of an extension of where he ended the press conference backstage. When people would ask questions, he would say, I feel like that's a clickbait question, and that it's lazy reporting. Next. And he said that for all of them. And he kind of extended that to Pat, at least at the beginning. You're asking me to ruin what we're planning on doing, and I'm not going to talk to you about that. You have to watch Raw. And I was like, I don't know how many more questions you can ask or how to rephrase the questions. And finally he loosened up and became the fun guy to talk to. In fact, a little out of character towards the end of that conversation with Pat McAfee on the show that day, where he kind of started loosening up and laughing and smiling again. And it was like, okay, that's the normal John Cena we're used to seeing.
It's a great way to avoid questions. I'm gonna start doing that.
Sounds like a clickbait. If you do that on this podcast, I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute you.
Oh man, I know exactly what you're doing, Anthony.
Anthony sounds like a clickbait question. Mute. I'm done. I had a great time watching it all. Triple H said in the weeks leading up, like, just stop and watch and enjoy. But I do have to say that I did think night number 2 was drastically better than night number 1. Like, I thought night number 1 was a SmackDown, a good SmackDown in front of 65,000 people, or however many people were there on night number 1. I thought night number 2 was definitely the best. Some things that I noticed was, and that I saw afterwards, especially on social media, was people who had seats that get to the show and find out their seats are no longer available, which normally, just on the surface right there saying that would be like, I bought a seat at WrestleMania. How would my seat not be available? Well, production ended up taking that seat for some of the stuff. So what does WWE do? They make them part of the set. And so they have seats on the set for the people who lost their seats due to the set. And which, can you imagine anticipating on going, having the seat that you have, but now you actually get to be a part of the show and you're sitting on the set.
That's a great move. I think.
I was about to say, it'd be hard to be mad about that.
I think it would be too. They did have to sign a waiver because I guess all the pyro and stuff is up there. Sign a waiver and get earplugs.
Because man. I know we sat by the entrance when we were kids for some WrestleMania, and it was brutal. When the explosions come off, your body's not ready for it. It's like that happens at AEW all the time. Yeah, Ross and I were like idiots. We were walking back from our match, and someone was coming out, and then everyone's covering their ears, and so Ross and I just naturally just follow along, cover our ears. Nothing happens. Or right when we move our fingers, boom, boom.
That's when everything goes off. Yeah, exactly. Man. Yeah, tell Tony you need some pyro too.
Yeah, I know. It was one explosions
in there, man.
Exactly. Explosions, yeah. Just random.
Before our music even hits, just random explosion. Give it a 30-second pause, awkward silence, another explosion, and then our music.
Terrify everyone first. Boom,
that's right. Traumatize the crowd before the Von Erichs come out.
People just dread.
Speaking of the Von Erichs, the patriarch, your father, was just on. Theo Von. We talked about him being on last time Kevin was on the show here with us, but now that episode is out, and I laughed pretty much all the way through it. And I mean, it was just, I think it was hilarious when Theo was talking about your dad and all the brothers' hair. That part, about how beautiful their hair was.
I know.
Now, on the surface, that doesn't really sound funny, but if you watched it, or if you know what we're talking about, it's a funny part of the
Theo has a way of bringing up subjects that everyone's thinking about, but no one ever says. And and it was funny was when Dad was like, "I cut my own hair." He's like, "I can tell."
Yeah. I'm not trying to have them all. It's just like you just can't reach the back.
Yeah, because Dad will look in the mirror and pop, and kind of guess back here. And I mean, he can get
sometimes he'll go too short and look like the soccer mom a little bit,
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so you guys were there during the taping of it. Give us some behind the scenes.
Oh man, their dynamic together was pretty unbelievable. And Ross and I have been Theo fans for like a really long time anyway. Just I think he's honestly, I really think he's just has a great comedic mind. Especially in person, meeting him in person was so cool. You can just tell he's just naturally funny. And he mentioned something about when people with traumatic lives like to find the comedy and, like to find the comedy in every situation. He was a kid. I couldn't relate a bunch to it, but I had my dad a little older, than most of my siblings. And Theo was talking about when his dad was, like 80 or something when he was a young kid. Yeah. And that is, when you're a kid, you have something that you're, embarrassed about, or you that hide behind or whatever. And I really related to that when Theo was talking about that, and he had a whole bunch of dread and regret that he wished he wouldn't have done that to his dad. Something his dad couldn't really do anything about. But hearing him and my dad talk, especially when the cameras were off, it really felt like Theo might have mentioned too. He was like, it's like the dad I always wanted. They meshed perfectly together, and my dad too. You could tell he genuinely cared for Theo. And the best part was he didn't know much about him before. We tried to tell Dad a little bit, and he's like, "I'd rather not know who he is. I want to find out who he is when we get there." So we were like, "Okay." He did a good job though.
Yeah. Since finding out though, my mom and dad both are huge. They just think he's hilarious. They're big fans of him.
Yeah. It's funny to see how much Mom likes him.
Yeah, my mom she giggles the whole time she's watching him. It's pretty funny to watch.
I know this. He made a comment. He's talking to this girl that has this orchard with apples and stuff, and she was talking about crossbreeding them, and he's like, "Well, y'all do that behind a curtain, of course, right? Like you hide it." And Mama loved that, but it was just like that's just his conversational comedy right there. It just naturally comes up.
Yep, that's great. And if you haven't watched, I would say, you can listen to it. It's way better if you watch it. So jump on YouTube, type in Theo Von, Kevin Von Erich, and like I mentioned with Kevin, I think he could have made a better cousin than Lance. Have Theo. I think that there's something there. If Theo would like to get in the ring with the Von Erichs AEW, I mean, we need to work on that in 2020.
We threw it out there, and Theo. If you guys haven't seen Theo's Rat King, man, it's awesome. He busts wrestling promos.
Yeah, go watch that. He did a great wrestling promo.
Yeah, he did.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Check that out on YouTube. Type in Theo Von, Kevin Von Erich. Watch that episode. You will not be disappointed. In fact, I'll just put the link, if you're watching on YouTube right now, put the link here in the description. So go check that out. You guys were telling me about something I haven't watched yet, and it's called Hollywood Demons. It has, I guess, it's different episodes. Every episode is about something different. There is one that's on the Von Erichs.
Yes, I believe it's episode 5, but it's called The Real Iron Claw. Okay. And this I wish I could remember her name, but the lady that threw it all together, man, we should remember. But she came out and she was really, really convicted about telling the real story after the movie came out. and telling my dad that, like, no, that it was kind of wrong what they did. I want you to tell your version of it. I want you to be behind the real story. And I was kind of worried that it was going to be just a hit on the movie, because it kind of looked like we endorsed the movie going to the premiere and all that stuff, because we really didn't have much of a choice. Like, it was going to happen whether we liked it or not. And it was either be a part of it or don't. And so, I try to take advantage of it. And like I said before, we don't feel like they crossed any line, but they literally, I think, was one of the greatest documentaries or episodes on our family that I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because Vice did such a great job. Sure. But this honestly, I couldn't stop, like, getting emotional. It was insane. It really was. My wife too. We were watching it together, and I don't know if it was because we were super jet lagged. We had just landed from Boston, and so we just threw that on, and I couldn't stop watching it. And it was so in depth about each family member. You understand, like, honestly, what hit me the hardest was my grandfather, when he had lost Uncle Jackie, his first son, a 6-year-old. Yeah. I guess that heaviness has never really hit me before, but hearing that story and the details in it, and then my grandmother had explained so much about their marriage, how strong their marriage must have really been to endure that together and not be bitter towards each other. Because your 6-year-old, that's your first kid, your first creation that you've made together, and to lose that. And then I had my Uncle Jackie, before he left the trailer, he told my grandmother, it was or was it so long? Like something that she could never forget. Yeah. Something that she could never forget. And there's a lot of stuff like that. But not to mention too, is great, just the MJF and Chris Jericho were on there.
Oh wow.
And we're really pumped, man. It made me I love MJF, man. He really does know our family well. I didn't know that, but he explained how our family was the first to, bring music to the ring, and how innovative my grandfather was. And, it was awesome to hear. And Chris Jericho, his explanation was awesome too, though. Like, these guys
his description of Uncle Kerry was, pretty spot on, but it made a lot of sense. It was really cool hearing that come from him. So
100%.
Where do you watch this? What is it on?
So you go on Amazon Prime, and then there's a Discovery Plus on Amazon Prime that you can go to. And I'm hoping they just eventually.
It's from Discovery, though.
Yeah, it's from Discovery. Yes.
Wow. Okay. It's called Hollywood Demons. You said you think it's episode 5.
Episode 5.
The Real Iron Claw.
That's right. Okay. The Real Iron Claw, and it's an awesome episode. One of the best I think they've done.
I've seen a lot of the stuff, and this is all before you and I have met. But I've watched the rise and fall of World Class Championship Wrestling. Stuff's touched on there. I saw the Dark Side of the Ring. I saw. There was also there was something WWE produced. I'm trying to remember what that was. Or maybe that's the rise and fall of World Class. But
Triumphs and Tragedies,
exactly. Watched all of those, and I would love to. I'd love to see something current, kind of after the movie is out. And it sounds like that was the reason they even jumped in to produce the show.
They talked a lot about the movie too.
What I thought was kind of interesting. So when my dad went down to shoot Triumph and Tragedy with WWE at the time, there was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, there was Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, a bunch of guys, just doing the commentary for it. And one thing that kind of stuck out to me and Marshall at the time was Triple H. He was asked kind of about how would you summarize the whole Von Erich story? And his comment was, I don't think it's so much of a curse as it is a public service announcement. Kids don't do drugs, and at the time I was like, yeah, that's a fair point, but it kind of rubbed me and a little bit like, give me like a chip on my shoulder a little bit. Like, if that's what you're going to get out of the whole, roller coaster of the the story, it, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. And it planted something in me and Marshall that makes us want to to finish the story well, in a way.
100%. That's
kind of make that the legacy, like, the Von Erichs, public service announcement,
That was kind of when the conversation started. We wanted to defend that, because Triple H was our hero growing up, and that hurt.
Shawn Michaels too. He was
Shawn Michaels too.
Went on with it.
Yeah. All right. I'm anxious to watch it now. So you guys should. And if I can grab a link that I could put in the description here, I'll do that as well. But it's called Hollywood Demons, episode 5, The Real Iron Claw, on Discovery or Discovery Plus.
Yes.
But you get that on Amazon. I think you'd probably get it on Max as well. I think Max is a part of the whole Discovery family. So if you check that out on Discovery. Excited to watch that. Like I said, I'll leave a link if there's one available. If there's one that will actually translate to where you can click on it. Check the description of this episode; it'll be in there for you. One more thing, I know you guys have been on the road. You've been busy. You've been hanging with your brother Dustin and 6-man tag champs, Ring of Honor, and part of all of that is going to culminate here in Texas, your hometown or your home state. In Dallas for All In. That's coming up in June. Is that right? June? July. Yeah. I knew it, and I'm gonna do this right.
I think I'm the one that you just forget stuff. Quit trying to take my role, man.
Yeah.
You got to mark it on it. Is that what it is? May 25th is going to be Double or Nothing at the Desert Diamond Arena. Very familiar with that arena, living in Phoenix for 5 years. So that's going to be
Phoenix for 5 years. That's right. I remember you saying something about that.
It's a great place. But we got why is that not the first thing here on the website? It should be just for this.
Right.
All in London. Louise, Ant.
Let's see, man. Okay.
Oh, there it was. I found it. All in Texas, July 12th.
There you go.
It should be baked into our brains by now, as much as it's talked about. All right. So how's it feel to know that there is a giant, in fact, this is the biggest, the pinnacle for AEW's pay-per-views is called All In. It's been in London this year. It is in Texas, right here in the good old USA. And if it's going to come anywhere in the United States, might as well come to Texas, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Man, we couldn't have written up any better. The fact that there was we just got to AEW, and that was when Ross and I realized that All In was going to be in Dallas. We realized it a little before All In London, and as we were there, I was so happy we got to be a part of that original All In, just because we saw the magnitude. It was huge in London. I couldn't believe how many people were so excited. They're excited and pumped, and how many wrestling fans were that where we had stayed, Wembley Stadium. There's like little shopping centers and all that stuff around it, and everyone was wearing an AEW All In shirt. Every single person was, and so Ross and I, we had to take pictures with our belts, and so we were walking the streets, and those people just thoroughly enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, hanging out with everybody and stuff, and so what got us excited was, wow, dude, the next one's in Texas. Next one, we've got to be a part of it somehow, some way. And now we know it's in the conversations, and so they're just finding out where to put us. And we have some ideas of our own that we're going to throw out there, and we're really excited to announce some of these ideas that we have.
Yeah, man.
Globe Life Field is where it's all going down. That is where the Texas Rangers play baseball during baseball season. How cool is that? Now, what I really want to know is, will the roof be open? Will the roof be closed? Because that'll change the atmosphere real quick.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good matches. There's a lot of good matches. I know Hangman Page and Swerve. That they're both great wrestlers. I mean, I love both their styles. And you just know it's going to be a great match. I really do think AEW has some of the most incredible matches. But, one match I watched last night was Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. That was one of the most unbelievable matches I've ever seen. I couldn't believe how incredible that was. It was just it was a great match. One of the best I've ever seen. And I was like, geez, these guys are really just top notch. So
it's going to be epic when it comes to attendance. And I'm looking right now at Ticketmaster. I mean, there's seats are rapidly evaporating. However, there are still several that are available. And one thing that kind of catches my eye is this VIP deck. There's a VIP deck. It's right, like it looks like it's at a ring corner, but it's a one section back I'm guessing that's going to be some prime viewing from that area. How does somebody have to do a podcast with some of the wrestlers to get access to that place?
Yeah, man, that's not a bad idea, man.
Maybe we could do the podcast from that VIP deck before the show. Can we do that?
Man. Ross, let's pitch that idea. That'd be awesome.
That's right. Yeah. I'll bring the setup. You guys just show up.
We'll get you some good seats, my friend.
Have they announced any of the card yet for All In? I know probably some matches are out there, but I don't think so. I'd be surprised.
It doesn't look like that they're or at least they're not on the website. They're not showing them there. When you click on All In Texas, it just gives you the date, but it takes you right to Ticketmaster.
Okay.
And, so you can buy tickets for that show. You can go to AEWTix.com too to find out details and how to grab tickets. But it's if you go to AllEliteWrestling.com, click on events there at the top, you'll see All In Texas. And it's just click on the belt buckle. That's the easiest thing to say. Big giant Texas belt buckle. You got to get some belt buckles like that too.
Oh, I know. I want to get that All In belt buckle. I think it's sweet. They better make real belt buckles and give them all the cowboy gimmicks in the promotion.
How many cowboy hats do you think guys will be wearing just because it's in Texas?
Oh shoot! Yeah, I know the whole roster show up in cowboy hats that day. That's a new direction.
Those are the people you need to have some beef with stealing your gimmick there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
So we're in Texas, and all of a sudden. Yeah, we got some Cowboys coming out of the woodwork. We'll see.
Ross had to stop me. Anytime I saw a guy wear blue jeans and barefoot, I want to kick the TV. And Ross like, you can't just claim that, all right? And if they do a cannonball too, I'm going to throw up.
I do think that you should see if you can copyright or trademark that. Jeans, barefoot. Yeah.
I know, man. Yeah.
I need to get a hat. This is totally off topic.
Yeah. Anybody who's wrestler or not, if you wear jeans and no shoes, you get a cease and desist letter.
That's right.
You wanted to have
handwritten from Marshall.
Handwritten in crayon. You officially have to be Marshall Von Erich.
Well, looking forward to that July 12th. We got a little bit of time, but I'm anxious to see what happens, particularly with you guys and your buddy Dustin, 6-man Ring of Honor tag champs. I would anticipate the Von Erichs have to be involved in something at All In, being in Texas. And if it's not, there's a travesty.
Is this going to be the debut of AntMan? That's the real question everybody wants to know.
When you say everybody, you mean you two, right?
Yeah, but you know, there's some people out there.
Yes, my mom called you. I got it. I understand.
My mom must have called you.
Exactly. So about as close as I think I could get is follow you with a camera.
Yeah. We got to get you in there. We got to get you in there with us. That's actually not a bad idea though. But I think
follow you with a ring with a camera.
Yeah, a lot of these guys. They've said they've seen our podcast, so they'll just know if you show up with us.
Marshall, you know what I just realized is we have a show at our ranch on July 6th, which is like a week before. So,
is it in July? I thought it was in June. Is it in July now?
It's in July.
Okay.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Well, now you know.
Find out the booking right now on the Claw Pod. Well, excellent. So, okay, we talked about on the last podcast that you were looking at something in June. Are you doing both? Or just
we have something in June as well.
Yeah, I thought the ranch show was June 2nd for some weird reason. I don't know why.
We can hash that out.
Yeah, I know. Ross knows better than I do it.
Yeah, July something is July 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, some kind of show.
All right, excellent. Well, we'll hash that out and give an update next week. Here on the Claw Pod. Anything else we need to hit, guys?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't, it's difficult because it's on Amazon and Discovery Plus, but please watch that. If you haven't, it's really, really well done.
Hollywood
Demons. If you want to get a little encouragement, pick me up, go watch the Theo Kevin Von Erich, the dynamic duo that we didn't know we wanted. It was definitely just a great show. I'm probably going to watch it again because, you know, there's some things I missed and stuff.
Of course.
It was a good show. It was definitely an awesome show.
Sometimes it's funnier the second time as well.
True. Yeah, 100%.
If you're watching right now, thank you. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like on this video, and share it with somebody. If you're listening, thank you so much. Subscribe wherever you listen so you never miss an episode of The Claw Pod. We'll see you back here next week. Have fun, guys.